Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, shine. Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir, Or Chadash Al Zion Tahir. Boker Tov, good morning. A few minutes late here. My connection was, I don't know, not letting me connect. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, we're here. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for a lot of things like the weather, although I'm sure by this afternoon I'll be complaining. So yesterday, I decided to give myself a gift, that which was to go to the beach for 2 hours and just be. And so I try to do that at least once a summer, just me go to the beach. Wasn't so sure what was going to happen this year, but I was like on the fence. Should I go? Should I not go? Whatever the story was. Like, there's something to be said about going to the beach with people and kids and family and fun and great. But there's also something to be said about sitting with your own self, which is weird sometimes. But anyway, the beach, the weather was fantastic. The water was freezing. I don't really know why. Earlier in the season it was much warmer, but who knows, storm waters or whatever it was. But it was great. And I was thinking about this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion, choosing to see the difference between blessing and curse. And there's a lot of times in our lives that we are thinking like, ugh, this can't be a blessing. Like, how can I see something good out of this? This feels like a curse. Or sometimes we are giving two options. Hey, should I go this way? It seems really good. Or will I just continue to go down this path and it's going to be, I'm sure at the end it can't be that good. It's all about a mindset. Or the idea of blessing and a curse being who you surround yourself with. There's lots of ways to dissect and depict what we get from the choice of blessing and curse, the good and evil. I mean, this idea goes back all the way to the beginning of creation. It's the difference between good and evil. It's the difference between blessing and a curse. It's the difference between, standing at a crossroads and saying, am I going to go left or am I going to go right? I don't know. You're going to go the way you're going to go. Then if you take your mindset and say, you know what, I'm going to choose this way, or I'm going to do this way, and this is the path of blessing, and it's known to you, this is the blessing, this is the right choice, and your mindset says, oh, well, it'll probably can't even be that good because, in the end, everything is bad anyway. That comes from your own mindset. That comes from your own plague. That comes from your own trouble. But the idea is that we have a choice to choose between good and evil. We have a choice between blessing and a curse. Both are going to show up. They always do. It's like, the story of, I don't know the actual story, the idea of, there's two angels sitting on your shoulders, one that's whispering in your ear, to do the wrong thing, and the other that's only allows you to do the right thing. So in this week's Parsha, Re'eh is to see. And how do we see ourselves in the world? And how do we see ourselves when it comes to things like blessings and curses? Do we always feel like we're cursed? Ugh, the world is out to get us? Or are we able to see, even if it feels like the world is caving in on you, are you able to see Re'eh? To see that which is still a blessing amidst the turmoil, amidst the destruction, all of which is terrible in the world. And so I saw something on, I think Instagram, maybe Facebook, but I think Instagram, yesterday, which was about the rescue of, hold on, I'm going to read the text. I think I have it here. Maybe I do. I think it's here. Let's see. Nope, it's not here. I'll get it before we're done. Which is, even in the midst of the turmoil was with Hezbollah and the rockets flying and things happening and the Bedouin Muslim rescue, the Jews are celebrating that, which is still a small victory. One would say, ugh, why should we do anything for that person? They're not our person. And yet there is still good blessing in the world, despite all that is bound up in destruction and hate and viciousness and warfare. So Moses tells the people, see, this day I set before you a blessing and a curse, in accordance with the choice to see or witness or observe God and God's commandments. So this reminds me of a lens. Good and evil, blessing and curse, seeing the good that comes even when the world seems like it's upside down. The lens that we choose to view the world through is a quintessential part of how we see blessing and curse. Period. It's like choosing our reaction to things that happen. If we choose to see the lens through goodness, then goodness is the path upon which we find ourselves, leading us towards the destiny that is what we are meant to fulfill. When we choose the lens of challenge and negativity, the negativity is the path toward, it doesn't have to be totally negative, but it tends to have a negative feeling vibe. And that is where we end up being most often. And if not, it requires so much more work to get it to come back to where we want it to be or where it should be. The image of God is how we perceive God through that lens. Someone said to me on the phone yesterday, Rabbi, I haven't talked to you since, all that's unfolded in your life. But I just want to offer my condolences now, even though it seems so late and seems so ridiculous. I'm embarrassed whenever I didn't say something. It's not even somebody I know. It was somebody I called about actually something for the baby naming. And I met the woman one time in my life. But because she's like a community member, she was feeling bad that she didn't say anything. Anyway. And she said, I just want to know one thing. And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. How can you still believe? How can you do your rabbi duties when something like this has happened in your life? And I said to her simply this, and I've said it here before, but this is the reminder. I said to her, the lens through which I see God, unfolding of life, creation, co-creation, the crappiness that happens in the world, when I look through my own lens, even when it's so bad, I choose to see the reality of the bad automatically. But then I look further. It's like having progressive lenses, okay? Which I'm wearing for the first time, which I don't have on in this minute because I can't, the computer setting space seems a little weird. But the bottom of the lens sees what's closest to you. Reading, whatever we're closest to. It enlarges it. It makes it bigger. It makes it crispy. In the middle of that lens is something a little bit further. A little bit further than right here. It's a little bit further, a couple feet away. We see things clearer, but not necessarily perfect, but we see it for its face value. This is what's in front of us. I see it. I see it good. I see it bad. I see it. However I see it, I see it. And then is the top of the lens. That which brings everything that is so far away into the foreground. Crystal clear, crisp as ever, bright. So sometimes we have to look here, hope to enlarge the good, as we focus on what's in front, but really we look ahead to see that which is now crisp, that which is coming towards us, because we have chosen to see through a lens, which is a lens of promise, of hope, of blessing. Thank you, Elisa. I just thought of it just a second as we were talking, to be honest. I was reminding myself through which the lens I see. But when I spoke to the woman, I said, I choose to look through a lens that says, you know what? It doesn't feel at all like a blessing. In fact, it feels terrible. But God, faith, tradition, ritual that I follow, that I practice, that I preach, that I engulf and immerse myself in, is to say, my God, my religion, my faith, my truth is not a curse. It's a blessing even when it feels like it isn't. The energy that we can build for ourselves, for our community, is using the spiritual tools that we know to use, which is prayer, which is study, which is music, which is whatever things that positively affect our lives, has the potential to heal our bodies, emptying our minds, transforming our spirit, so that we can look through that lens to see the blessing rather than the curse. Because there's going to be curses, guys. We live in a crazy world, and life is ours to live. That's from some song from Rent. I'm trying to think of the lyrics, but life is ours to live. So if we continue to see through the lens of, it's so hard, it's going to be so hard. Period. If we choose to look through the lens that says, okay, like, this is hard, however, I can see something positive, a little glimmer, maybe of hope, or maybe a silver lining, or maybe none of that, but just to say, you know what, as much as I feel like my life is cursed, there are the potential for there to be blessing. And I use that potential to say you might not feel it today. It doesn't mean it won't be tomorrow, 3 weeks from now, 5 years from now. But if you close your eyes off to say, you know what, it's everything that's going to be negative. It will always be negative. There's no hope for it. Then guess what? There's no hope for it. We need to allow ourselves the freedom to see that which is everything that we choose to see good has the potential to impact our lives for good. So let's not even talk about that which is the curse. Let us find ourselves with the right lens. You know what? If it means you have to change them again, so change them again. You know what? Today I can't see through that lens. There's a scratch on it. There's a big smudge on it, fingerprint. Whatever that is, clean them off. Get a new pair. Look at it differently. Because no one can help you but yourself in order to see that which is right up close. Something that's reachable but not here yet. But more importantly, to see the goal at the end is to see the blessing in our lives. Let's find ourselves in partnership, in harmony, showing up for one another, so that we can have crystal clear vision of blessing, because we all have them, even in the shittiest of moments. There are blessings to be called out, celebrated, that we need to show up for it, for each other, so that living in this world where it's not so easy, we know that we have one another. We are one human family, one heart of abundant love. We love you, and we'll continue to love one another, because that's what makes us this collective light of blessing and of hope. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.